World War I was a war that put major superpowers against each other. These include the Ottoman Empire, Germany, Austria-Hungary, the United States, Britain, France, Russia. All the major superpowers at the current time were against each other, mainly in Europe and Asia. For this video, I'm going to give you guys insight into how World War I truly began, from the factors to how they all played the eventual role to the causes. How they all played a role into the causes of the war. Also, I'll mention the leaders who actually did things. That too. Make sure to like and subscribe if you do enjoy the video at any point or find it really informative. First up is militarism, which is the belief that a country should have a strong and superior military. Superpowers in Europe drastically increased their military strength over a period of like 100 years because they love each other. This caused naval and arms races to obviously occur for very obvious reasons. This obviously creates tensions, and when war breaks out, which is after the tensions, things are not going to look smoothly for the countries who have like 2 people in their military, compared to like 1 million. Another factor which led towards World War I was the formation of alliances. Let's say, for example, if one country, invaded another country, and that country was invaded with another country. I can't speak today. If that country was allied with one country, like another country, then that country would declare war on the invaders because they're allied with the people that they're invading. All countries allied with the invaders would declare war on the other side. Vice versa. Almost like dominoes. Another factor which led towards World War I was imperialism. Because why not? Imperialism is the belief that said country should expand their territory influence past what they already have. European superpowers like Great Britain and France, for example, would compete for land and power. This detail would prove to be somewhat relevant because Germany themselves weren't believing that they were getting in on the relevant colonization that was happening around this period. And they thought they weren't like a true superpower, even though they were pretty sure their economy was doing great. Really great? I don't know. And also, to add to absolute nonsense, they believed that the only way to do that would be absolute war. Why? Last try. Last of the definitions will be nationalism, or strong pride to one's home country. This would lead to the assassination of Austrian-Hungarian Archduke Franz Ferdinand later on. We'll get into that cause into World War I right now. Alright, now that we've learned the factors, let's just see how it all comes together. On June 28th, 1914, Serbian nationalist named Gabriel Princip assassinated Austrian-Hungarian Archduke Franz Ferdinand and his wife Sophie. The Archduke was on a trip to Sarajevo, the Bosnian capital. Austria-Hungary annexed Bosnia, which in turn angered Serbian nationalists who were selfish and thought the land should have been theirs. A plot was then hatched to kill the Archduke, and as we know, it was Princip who killed the Archduke. This would clearly not be wonderful news for the people, and especially the royal family. And they were mad. They believed that Serbia, the government, not the, terrorist group, the Black Hand, which is what Gabriel Princip was in, actually ordered the assassination. So they wanted revenge. But in Germany, they felt like they were being left out of the colonization that was rapidly happening at that period. So much because, North America, South America, I'm pretty sure they were all mainly colonized at that point. But Germany just felt sad and left out. Germany had been in an arms race with Britain since 1898. Imperialism. Is that imperialism or is that... No, that's militarism. I'm dumb. Anyways, they both just grew their military substantially. However, Germany believed that the only way to become a true superpower, again, even though they had a really good economy at that time, was to declare war on every major superpower. I don't know why. They could have just allied with every superpower and been fine. but they didn't. When the assassination happened, German Kaiser, or Emperor, William II, thought to himself, "It's free real estate!" Germany then aligned itself with Austria to help defeat Serbia, which was aligned with Russia, France, and Britain. Alliances. Bulgaria and the Ottoman Empire would eventually join Austria-Hungary and Germany, which formed the Central Powers. Russia, France, Britain, and later the United States after the sinking of the Lusitania and the encrypted and intercepted message to Mexico asking them to join the Central Powers and regain the territory lost to the US would form the Allied Powers. The first encounter in World War I would happen on August 23rd, 1914. The result of this battle would be the complete annihilation of British forces by the Germans. But that's a tale for our new video coming out next week, or that depends on when you see this. Maybe it's out already. But that is a tale for our next video. Now onto the leaders. Now that we've gotten through the causes of World War I, let me just tell you about the leaders and the relevant ones, because there's, I don't know how much countries there are. Probably a lot by that point. We're going to go into the ones that actually had an impact in the war. So the relevant ones. And it'll speed it up to make your lives easier. First up is King Albert I, who was the King of Belgium. Even though Germany occupied his country, a lot at that point, he would lead his loyal troops to liberate Belgium with the Allies. In Britain, there was H.H. Asquith, who was the Prime Minister of Britain for the first 2 years of the war. The next Prime Minister of Britain would be Lloyd George. The King of the UK would be George V. And fun fact for you all, he was the first cousin of William II, the guy he's fighting against. The leader of Romania was Ferdinand I, which also was related to William II very closely as well. Same family. So much family ties in this war. Constantine I was the king of Greece until everyone didn't like him, just sent him away by the end of the war. Robert Borden was the leader of Canada. In Russia, Vladimir Lenin would lead the Russian Revolution and would form the Soviet Union. Dang. I mean, two video topics that I have yet to make. And I can't make info cards at them at this point. Dang it. Nicholas II would be the last emperor of Russia, because of the Russian Revolution. Raymond Poincaré, very wonderful name though, would lead France into World War I. Emperor Taisho, probably said that wrong, but I don't care, would be the Emperor of Japan, but the Emperor role had really no power at this specific point in history. It was more just of an icon. Woodrow Wilson would be the President of the United States of America during the war. Ferdinand, which not to be confused with Ferdinand I of Romania, of course, would lead Bulgaria into the war on the side of the Central Powers. It'd be funnier if Ferdinand I was actually the King of Belgium. That would have been funny, because when I went to search them up, I accidentally clicked the wrong one. I thought Bulgaria was Belgium. William II would be the Kaiser of Germany, and the guy who mainly supported and kind of caused the war in the first place. Mehmed V, I probably again said that wrong, was the last Sultan of the Ottoman Empire, which was in the Central Powers. Woohoo! Now we are done with the relevant leaders list. That is pretty cool. Alright, so in our next video, we'll be talking about the battles and weapons of the First World War. Make sure to subscribe, like, comment, and try to test your knowledge of this concept with the Google form in the description. Until our next video, have a very, very, very good day.